Hello, everybody. Good afternoon. It's 2 o'clock on a Friday, so that means you are listening to Let's Make a List on KPCA LP, Petaluma, California, 103.3 FM, online at kpca.fm. My name is Phil. I'm the host of this show where we talk about pop culture things like books and movies and music. I don't know why I listed books first. We rarely ever talk about that. Video games, other things like that. And we make lists and we talk about our choices. Today, we have a very special guest. You know her from as and to Bore from that's the name of the show. Phil and Errol's Mixtape. She is the host along with myself. She is also frequent guest on this show. If you go to kpca.fm, you'll see a picture of her. If you go to our house, she's sometimes there. She's busy. She's got other things going on too. Excuse me. Our guest today is Ariel.
Thank you.
Hey, Ariel, how's it going?
Feel pretty good.
I'm not going to share your last name because I know that you are a very personal person and you don't want people to know.
Well, I am a person. That's true.
Nice.
And I don't know if I can be qualified as a special guest anymore. I feel like
You're always
sometimes a slightly extra guest.
Not extra at all. You're always special guest.
Definitely
Every guest is
an
special.
average guest.
No.
I'm here pretty frequently.
Yeah, that's awesome. Makes it special. Yeah. It's
Oh, I broke you.
Yeah, it happens sometimes. So today is 420. It's a national holiday, an American holiday.
Are you going to tell people about the parade that's going by the doors?
Yes, it's non-existent. There is some sunshine and no breeze at all right now. Yep. So that's what's going on today in Petaluma. So today, because it's 420, obviously we're going to talk about movies with airplanes in them.
Obviously.
Yes.
Because why?
Because they fly high.
Hey-o.
Hello.
Ba-dum-tsh.
Boom, boom. So you might think that this show is just a bunch of inappropriate drug humor. It is not. This is a family-friendly show for everyone.
That incorporates a lot of yoga.
Yes.
I need to start taking daily photos of how you sit behind the control desk.
Oh, thank you. My pleasure. So yeah, we're going to talk about movies with airplanes. Movies where airplanes are a big part of it. Maybe people will be on them. Maybe people will be in them. Maybe people will be around them. Who knows? Maybe we'll just be talking about them. My favorite movie is just a movie about people sitting at a desk talking about airplanes. You know what that movie's called? Boring movie. I couldn't think of another word for boring. Yeah. What? Yeah, it's my favorite.
I learn new things about you every day.
Yep. Thanks for listening. All right, so we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about some other things, some news. Let's start with this. So,
okay.
There's a movie being made about the Panama Papers.
What?
Steven Soderbergh is directing.
What?
So that's a very recent thing, the release of the Panama Papers, which is like over 1 million pages or something like that of information, just about how a lot of information about how much in this country and this world is an oligarchy. And
wait,
I'll just leave it at that.
As a woman in the world, let me put on my
please do.
Shocked voice.
Thank you. Was that you were representing all women?
Oligarchy? Do you mean a patriarchal oligarchy?
Ooh.
Oh my goodness. How strange. Shocking.
Well, it's better than if the Democrats won. Then we'd be living in a communist slave state or something. I don't know. That's what people say. You know that
specific people.
Yeah. Do you know that
specific people
that
say
Hitler was left wing? So people use that argument.
Hitler was a vegetarian artist.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yep. Okay. So Panama Papers. So that made me think, what other movies that if you could have someone or a group of people make a movie, a good quality movie about a certain historical event or something like that, what would it be? Considering what's already been made, like you can have them make another one. Like if you think there should be another movie about Titanic, you go like, oh, the other one didn't do a good enough job. You can say that, but I think the other one did a pretty good job.
Whoever says that the movie Titanic didn't do a good enough job is a fool.
I agree.
Not
enough. They should have had more
violins.
Yeah, more
more
violins. Did you say violins?
Violins.
Yeah.
Yes.
I wonder what happened to that band.
Oh,
I think they're still playing today.
I think we know what happened.
They found a helicopter and they flew away.
Okay.
Yep, there we go. Just like everyone did.
Yeah.
You never see anyone drown. No one drowned.
No, Godzilla came over and was like, "Hey, I've got big hands."
Yeah.
Ooh. Lift everybody up.
Yep. And he ate them, and then people went, "Oh no!" But then inside, it was actually a nice, comfortable environment.
Yeah, it was a tropical island. It was like the Bahamas.
Yeah. It was like what's the whale in Pinocchio called? What's his name? Gordo? That's not it. Morpho. It's like, what's his name?
I don't remember.
Marlowe? No, it's oh, goodness gracious.
The whale.
Yeah. It's like
a whale of a tail.
See, it was nice.
Mm-hmm.
Pinocchio should have just stayed in there. Just
little,
invite Jiminy Cricket.
It's probably a little humid. Probably smelled a little rough.
Well, he's made of wood. He doesn't smell.
He became a real boy, Phil.
Pinocchio doesn't eat because he doesn't have taste buds. Everybody knows that.
You don't know.
That's true. I don't. I haven't seen the director's cut.
So the question was,
what other? Thanks for keeping us on track. What other events, historical or political events, do you think should deserve to have a movie made about it?
Literally anything about women doing anything in history.
Wait,
where
Hidden Figures didn't take care of that for you?
Hidden Figures.
What about the movie Suffrage, or what was that? What it was called?
Oh, do you mean the movie that was about white suffragettes?
Yeah.
That completely erased all the black people and pretended that the white suffragettes were incredibly racist when they were.
Wait,
and I'm not upset about the fact that they totally did move forward women's rights, but they were also, people like to pretend that they weren't racist, and they were. They were a product of their time. Not all of them, but a few major suffragettes were real rough on the language.
Yeah.
Yeah. I would love anything that shows women.
You should watch Clarissa Explains It All. The whole thing is from a woman's perspective.
Oh.
Yep. Ferguson represents all men. Nerdy and annoying. How's that for... I don't claim to be an expert when it comes to these things.
But you are one.
But I am, because I'm on the radio.
Uh-huh.
And you could be too. Go to KPCA.FM and find out how you could have your own show. If you're in Petaluma, join the airwaves. So, no, I think that's a very good point. I do. I agree.
Yeah. There are some good television shows out there about, okay, I'm just, sorry, I need to rewind a little bit. I was answering something in the middle. There are a lot of movies out there about men in wartime. And what happens to them, and that's also very important. But it's important when you show the true toll that like takes on people.
Women are forced to play softball, league of their own.
And like there's what is it? The Bomb Girls, I think, is like a Canadian show, and it's about women in World War II in Canada building bombs.
Okay.
And going into the workforce and what that was like for them. And so I think it's just like history is important. Somebody once said to my face, and I was invited to their home for dinner, but they said to my face. I think it's stupid to learn about history. And I could have flipped a table because that was probably one of the top 3 stupidest things anybody has ever said to me personally. And it is important to look back so that you don't continue making the same mistakes and so that you can learn from what has happened and you can evolve. Otherwise, how do you if you're just looking at yourself? You don't learn anything. And so I think it's important to look back and to truly, honestly look back at our history and see what it was like objectively, not subjectively, because like the victors always write the historical text. And so history, especially in America, is very, very white and very, very male. And that's not true. And so anything that kind of brings any other stories to the forefront, I'm interested in.
Nice. I like that answer.
You're welcome. I'm a professional because I'm behind a microphone.
I read a biography about Eleanor Roosevelt in school. That was pretty great. I think that should be a good focus of a movie.
Was it called One Fish, Two Fish, Red Fish, Blue Fish?
Yeah. It's called Oh, the Places You'll Go.
Oh, no.
Miss Rosie. I think she was like second cousins or something with Franklin Roosevelt.
They were absolutely
like
cousins, yeah. They might have been closer than that.
Yeah, I guess it all worked out. It was fine. I think I want them. There are some movies that touch on this, definitely, but I want another movie that kind of talks about more. I want to talk about the internment of Japanese Americans, and just how that the things that led to it, and just the effect it had overall and everything, because that's something where
and how our history kind of tried to like smooth it over,
because it was something in school that I barely learned about. It wasn't until college that I really learned about it, and I was just like, what?
Yeah, we actually had like a little bit more in depth on it.
That's
we
good,
went to like China Camp, we went to Angel Island, we went to all those places for school field trips. I think I went twice with 2 different schools.
We went to Angel Island, but I just remember it being like them talking about where when immigrants came in, that's where they kind of went and
yeah, they definitely talked to us about
things
immigrants
there.
And they specified that it was like specifically like Asian immigrants were pushed here, but we read Farewell to Manzanar, and so like we did focus. It's about being interred at Manzanar.
Okay.
And so like we did read about it, but yeah, we were kids. I don't know if it like really, because it felt like it was so long ago. That's something that I wish would be addressed in schools, is that like, you know, when they talk about racism or they talk about this or that or the other thing, like they talk about World War II, it feels like when you're a kid, it feels like it's so long ago, but it's not. People are alive who remember what that was like, who were little or were actually like active during that time, and they're getting older now, but like there are people alive who, especially when we were kids learning about it, they could very much tell you exactly what it was like. And so it's like what time means.
Yeah.
Kind of nice to address
I agree.
in regards to what you're learning in school, because like, yeah, the Japanese internment was not that long ago.
It really wasn't. And it's like, I've talked about this probably on the show before, talked to you in person, definitely, where historical figures, I think people too much, like there are historical figures that do overwhelmingly good things, like Martin Luther King Jr., or there are people that are just are.
We're going to talk about the founding fathers.
Well, that's some, but there's so many historical figures that have done great things that have also done horrible things. So I think people need to honor the certain things they did, and not just the person as a whole. Because then in history we have too much. I guess when you're teaching kids, it's part of it is they don't have time to go in depth, and it's just easier to
They also don't want to, because when you can have it's the same truth as like religious ideologies. We're getting real deep right now. But like in religion, people don't talk about religious figures as human beings. They talk about them as if they're mythological, and they talk about certain factors of their lives, like person X was a carpenter and died when he was 32 or 34 or however old, but they don't talk about the fact that he potentially had kids, that he had lived a life and had these certain experiences. They like to wipe out certain things because it serves the story that you're telling.
Yep.
And so like it's exactly what writers do, is you make something one-dimensional, because then it's universal. But as soon as you add any dimension to it, you're going to lose listeners, you're going to lose followers. And it's the same thing happens with history, because like the further away you get from an event, you forget some stuff, and it kind of takes on like a sheen of memory. But then it's also like, let's remember this universally. We were the good guys. They were the bad guys. Yeah. This is exactly how it went. A, B, C, D. And like, yeah.
And so one thing I was reading the other day, I don't know what's true or what's not. So I'm saying this, like, take it with a huge grain of salt, because I don't know how true it is. But
all right, I'll wear a boulder of salt on my back.
Thank you. It's the first time that word has been used on the show.
Boulder.
Oh, boulder. Yeah, probably. Now I have that Seagulls Yoda song stuck in my head. Anyway, they're talking about I was reading an article about how Gandhi, people were claiming that he was very racist and stuff, like, because when he was in South Africa, and just he was very often talking about separating Indians from Africans and just stuff like that, and how, and like using very derogatory terms about him.
Well, yeah.
And then some people say, oh, that was when he was much younger, and he became, as he grew up, he matured and became.
Well, it's not far-fetched,
right,
at all, because colorism has always been a big thing. It's like still a big thing. Is that like the darker you are, the more you're like pushed to the side, which is horrific and awful, and people are starting to address it. But I mean, it's still prevalent in like beauty campaigns, and like hair supplies,
definitely,
at grocery stores. And so like it's not far-fetched to think that he was,
yep.
Because like, especially when you're talking to like colonists who are white, you're like, no, I'm closer to your side of the pigment spectrum, so listen to me more. So it's like, not anytime I hear about anybody being racist, I'm like, yeah, sure.
Yeah. And then, not saying that undoes everything else that he's done and what people do, but you can see how if there's somebody that is just, people go, this person is a saint, everything they did was amazing. The people who had like ancestors that were negatively affected by that person, I'm not talking about specifically Gandhi, but like any historical figure now, you can see how that can be very insulting.
Yeah.
And so same kind of thing happens with politics nowadays and everything, where people, there's someone they agree with more so they go 100% on board.
Yeah, people
everything
want things
they do
to be, again, universally accessible. They want it to be black or white. But like, I feel like 99.9% of what is reality is in the gray zone.
Yep.
And there are things that are absolutely like morally right or wrong, on a human scale. And that's like, it falls in that tiny little percent.
Yep.
And then there's so many things that are like, yes, this person said some amazing things. They did amazing things with their life, but then they were a horrible person.
Yeah.
And they were aiming for the next generation to be better, which is why they stood up and said, do better.
Yeah.
But people don't like to talk about that.
Yep. And in a way, it can be, if you learn about, I guess, lack of a better term, the negative side of these people, it can, in a way, be more inspiring, because they can go, look, these people aren't perfect, but they overall made the world a better place.
And it would also be interesting if those people themselves were like, look, I'm not perfect. Don't look to me to be perfect.
Right.
I'm saying we've tried everything else. Let's do something better.
Yeah.
And then it's like, thank you for your honesty.
Well, but yeah, real quick, going back to the internment, because Franklin Roosevelt was the president then, and he's considered by many people to be like a progressive champion hero because of so much stuff he did. He did a lot of good stuff, but it's like he ordered the internment of Japanese Americans.
Yeah,
and
he was progressive for his time.
Yeah,
and that's another thing, is that
like,
people always want to say,
wow.
Yeah, people always want to say, oh, but they're progressive. Yeah, that was how many years ago?
Yeah.
For their time.
Yeah.
That was actively in a time when they didn't really treat a lot of people as if they were human beings. And so like, he was progressive so far to a point.
Right.
And like, yeah, it really wasn't that long ago. And we're still in the same mentality. We have not changed that much. Some things have changed for the better, which is great. But there are some things that are deeply, deeply rooted and endemic to American society that are still here. And that's what we're finding out and have been finding out over the past year and a half. That a lot of people knew was already there, and we're not surprised.
You're talking about rodeos, right?
Oh yeah, rodeos have always been here. Rodeos have been here since the dawn of time. The dawn of man, when woman was made out of a rib. Rodeos.
Cool. So we want those movies made.
Yeah. Rodeos.
All right. Let's do the public domain movie of the week now. Cool?
Okay.
So this week, just quick reminder, I'm watching public domain movies. They're older. I'm trying to lengthen my attention span and watching movies that are free to watch. So if you have the internet, you can watch them. This week, I watched The Indestructible Man, 1956 black and white movie starring Lon Chaney Jr. and directed by Jack Polixton. I'm sure that's perfectly spelled correctly. Boredom score only 2. You ready?
Mm-hmm.
That's kind of cheap though, because I had it on my laptop on a chair while I was taking a bath. So it keeps me from wanting to touch anything electrical. But I still did stop twice.
You had to force yourself into a trap so that you wouldn't get zapped.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
But I needed to bathe. So okay, there we go.
I needed to bathe.
I only watched half the movie. I didn't spend the whole movie in the bath. So yeah, people want to know, it was a bubble bath. And it was all right. So Lon Chaney Jr., who's famous for playing a bunch of movie monsters and stuff back in the day, like Wolfman and Frankenstein, he basically played Frankenstein in this movie. It was a guy, I'll give you a quick synopsis. Man gets executed for robbing an armored truck. 3 other men were involved, but they put all the blame on this one guy, and he's the one who's found guilty.
Rude.
All right. Then there's $600,000 still missing, and he's not telling anyone where it is. So that's the beginning of the movie. And then you go to some scientists who are trying to find a cure for cancer, who are close to finding a cure for cancer. One of the scientists go to the people going to the morgue, buy the body off of him so they can do experiments. Illegally, by the way. And then they hook him up to, battery or whatever, and go boom, 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 and you see all the gauges just spinning. It was funny. It's just some of the pictures. I love how they do science in these old movies where they have like 3 gauges and they just have the same sound. And the gauges, like one of them just had like 40 on it, and then the thing just kept spinning like a clock going real fast. And then finally, then they go, "Oh wow, it worked. He's alive. Look at his cells; they're regenerating like crazy." And then he was alive, and they were like, "Oh, he's gonna die soon. This is just an experiment to see." But no, he just was super strong, and the strong electrical current blew out his vocal cords, so he couldn't talk. So he's basically Frankenstein, except he just looked like a guy.
Yeah, he wasn't a bunch of guys patched together.
Right. And then so he goes, "I'm gonna go after the people who did the crime with me, but blame me entirely."
The rude gentleman.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So there's that, and then you follow him going around, and there's by the way, he gets executed at San Quentin. They got shots of San Quentin, yeah. And then you've got detectives in L.A. Detectives trying to figure out, he was on the case, and he's trying to figure out where the money is and who's involved. And so he's going, okay, now that he's dead, I can go to this woman who was involved with him and the other people, the crime, and talk to her. Maybe she knows something. And they go on like one date, and they eat hamburgers in his car.
I really, really love you describing old movies.
That's actually, that is significant to what I'm going to say later. So yeah, they're eating hamburgers, and she's like, "I don't know. I just got caught up with him. He was dating my friend, and then my friend left, and I was there as the shoulder to cry on." And then, so he comes back, and then going after him, the detective is trying to figure out, and then they finally figure out that scientists got him and did that to him, and then it ends with...
Scientists got him.
I'm going to spoil it some, so if you care about this movie at all, which you don't need to, but if you care about it at all, you should turn off the radio for about 38 seconds. So he goes and he climbs this tower, and he's trying to get away, and then he does something that makes the tower electrocutes him, and then it's just like sparks everywhere, and he dies. He was like super, like you could shoot him, it wouldn't kill him. He was lifting cars, he was doing all sorts of stuff.
Man, electricity. Woof.
Yeah, that got him.
Magic.
So the thing that brought him back to life ended up killing him at the end. Tragedy. And he killed some people. He actually picked up a guy and just threw him down this large stairwell at one point. It was like, oh Jesus Christ.
Mean.
Yeah.
Was it one of the rude guys?
Yeah, it was one of the rude guys.
I mean, come on.
One thing is, one of the guys in the crime team was an attorney, and then the lead detective. Those 2 actors looked very similar to me, and they dressed the same, talked the same. So it was a little confusing at times. It's like, just give one of them a mustache or something.
Give one of them a pair of glasses. Give the attorney a pair of glasses. Attorneys are smart.
So I want to read the dialogue to the last scene of the movie.
I'm looking forward to it.
So stuff happens. The guy's dead. Now the lead detective and the woman, basically one woman that has a significant part in the movie because it's an older movie and everybody was sexist. they're in a car again, having a date. And she's going like, "Oh, I can't believe it happened. It almost feels like it didn't happen. Thank God it's over." He's like, "Yeah, I'm happy it's over too." And then she says, "I'll have to give up hamburgers in the front seat of the car for steaks in a restaurant." He says, "No, I've thought about that. In fact, I decided to do something about it. I started by talking the captain into a short holiday. And just about an hour ago, I got you fired." She says, "What? What did you do that for?" "I figured that being my wife would take up all your time." She says, "Even if I wanted to say no, I couldn't. You're not supposed to say no to a detective." He said, "I figured that too." They both laugh and kiss. The end of the movie. So their second date.
If I rewrote that movie, I would like you to know that it would end with an electrical storm that she had created, because her hair would be like literally standing on end. She'd be so mad. And she would be like, oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, really?
That was...
would burn your life
like,
down.
every one of these movies has something sexist in it. A lot of them have something racist.
Mm-hmm.
A different time. Not excusing it at all, but it was a different time. And this is just like...
Not that different.
Yeah, and this was just like... Yeah, good point. Like, wow. That is just... I got you fired so you can marry me.
Mm-hmm. Isn't that romantic?
And you feel pressured in like to say yes because I'm a detective.
Mm-hmm.
Really cool. Throughout the movie, she did take some things. She was like an independent woman character.
She needed to be corralled.
Yeah, she wasn't just like a lot of movies where they just have women being like, "Save me."
Yeah,
it
like a limp turtleneck,
yeah,
just kind of floating along the wind.
Yeah.
She was part of
the
guy gang.
Kind of, yeah. And she helped lead to the solution, which is chasing the guy till he died. So yeah, that ending just was like, what? Wow, way to go. So yeah, that got a boredom score of 2, and it is. So now here's my list so far of all the public domain movies of the week. The top one is my favorite.
Mm-hmm.
House on Haunted Hill, then Suddenly with Frank Sinatra, Carnival of Souls, The Indestructible Man, The Brain That Would Not Die, and then Last Man on Earth. Last Man on Earth was really boring. Brain That Wouldn't Die was the worst movie, but Last Man on Earth was really boring.
Mm-hmm.
There you go.
Thank you.
You're welcome. You want to do our list?
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Public domain movies of the week.
New segment.
Hey. All right. So yeah, we're talking about movies with airplanes because it's 420.
Mm-hmm.
I got mine in order.
Okay, I have mine in order. Are we doing it least favorite to favorite?
Yeah, I think that's good.
Then I can do that.
I'm making mine a little more interesting this time. I have a quote from the movie, then see if you can guess what it is.
Ooh. I did it the plain old vanilla way.
Yeah, that's fine.
Still delicious.
Oh, yeah.
But vanilla. And I only have 6.
Better than mint.
You have 7, right?
Yeah. I'll go first then. My number 7, here's a quote.
Okay.
The 6 and 7, I don't think you'll be able to get it from the quote. "Look, Polly, it was your idea to tag along, not mine. If you can't take it, that's not my fault." "Look, Polly, it was your idea to tag along, not mine. If you can't take it, that's not my fault."
Comedy or drama?
Drama. Action-y drama.
Polly.
I would be shocked if you got this.
P-A-U or P-O-L?
P-O-L-L-Y.
Nope.
Sky Captain: The World of Tomorrow.
Wow.
When I saw it in theaters, I enjoyed it. I forgot a lot about it, but I remember liking the way it looked and being entertained. I haven't watched it since.
I don't think I ever made it through it.
Did you? So you probably didn't go see it in theaters?
I didn't see it in theaters.
Yeah.
I might have gone onto a channel where it was playing. And so I probably came in in the middle or something, and I was
USA?
like, what
UPN?
is happening?
It was on WB?
CW.
Oh, okay. You've seen it recently. The CW's probably been around for 15 years.
Oh, God.
We're so old.
The weird things that age us.
Yeah. This is something probably won't mean as much to you, but speaking of aging, I just saw the other day, because Perfect Circle, the band, they just released another album. It's the first album in 14 years.
Really?
I was like, they're still like the guy from Tool's newer band. That's what they feel like to me. Wow. 14 years since their last album. But yeah. Oh. So yeah, Sky Captain: The World Tomorrow. That's the one with Angelina Jolie and
Jude Law.
Yes.
Yeah.
And it's I think it's black and white. Or if it's not black and white, it's kind of
like a
styled
limited
to look like an
palette. Yeah,
older movie, and
feel
it
like
has
there's,
like
like,
Hindenburg
blue.
and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's probably bluish. I enjoyed it. I don't know, I saw it when it came out. I haven't watched it since because I kind of have good memories of it. I don't want to ruin it.
Fair enough.
Yeah, so that's number 7.
Well done.
Thanks.
And good call having
Thanks.
quotes. It's a cool shift.
Thank you. You can make up quotes.
I'm like the worst. Ooh,
No.
that's a
Not
good
the worst.
suggestion. Okay.
You're number 6.
My number 6. Let me make up a quote from this.
Quote or clues or
Okay.
whatever you'd like.
I have to get my voice ready.
I'm going to sit up now.
Okay. This is a quote from one of the main characters.
Okay. Oh.
Are you
I'm
okay?
Yeah.
Okay. Phil almost chipped a tooth. We good?
Yeah, we're good.
Okay. All right. That was part of my vocal exercises. This is a quote from one of the main characters of this movie.
Is that Vin Diesel?
Yep.
So is it the Fast and Furious one with the airplane that on the runway for forever?
Yep.
Yep. Is that Fate of the Furious?
Yep.
Yeah.
Nailed it.
That's the big finale, right?
Woo! Yeah, I think so. There's a lot of explosions, a lot of cars. Nothing new.
Yeah. Wait, which one was it one of the Fast and Furious movies where there was like a big, is that one where there's a big fight on the plane too? And it's like, oh no, I think this is one where they're flying and the gravity changes. Who's the guy who is in Rogue, the old Jedi blind guy from Rogue One? That actor. He was in one of the Fast and Furious movies, right?
Yes.
Is that the same one?
I think
because that had
so.
stuff on a plane.
It probably is.
All right, I get it mixed up.
I do too, because who cares?
Yeah.
But he's a fantastic actor, and I'm totally blanking on his name. Anybody out there? Nope.
Oh.
We'll figure it out.
Yeah.
It starts with a D. It's not. What's your next movie?
It's not Dennis Murphy.
No.
He's a KPCA. He does another show.
Yeah. The Fast and Furious franchise is like the perfect kind of thing to watch during the summer or whatever, when you're just like, I don't want to apply a single brain cell to anything. And it's like somebody had that same thought and then wrote the movie.
Yeah. I think having The Rock in them, I like him in those movies. I think
enjoy
that
The
was
Rock.
such a good addition because
He knows what he's in.
yeah, I just love I think it's the newest one. There he's escaping in jail with Jason
Yep.
Statham and he's just
And he
like
has no
throwing
sleeves.
people.
And he has no
yeah,
sleeves.
he's just like throwing people, then he just says the most ridiculous things.
Yep.
And there's the other movies where
Donnie Yen.
that's it, yeah. Where The Rock takes Dwayne Johnson just takes a machine gun off of like a helicopter that's crashed, just tears it off and starts shooting at planes and stuff.
Yeah, it's ridiculous and ridiculous and ridiculous and ridiculous.
I like him in movies.
I
good.
enjoy him. And it's my problem with the Fast and Furious franchise is that there are so many people who are part of it and outside of it who do not seem to realize that it's not. They treat it like it's a very serious
Oh yeah.
thing, like it's a lifestyle. And like The Rock, Dwayne Johnson, I feel is very much like, oh, I know what this is.
Yep.
And I can do this. This is fun.
I agree.
And Vin Diesel, I do not think is on that train. I think he's on a very separate train because I hear that he is a very like nice person who's like a total nerd, but every time he comes up with anything that's ever nerdy, I want to just scream in his face. Vin Diesel, I want to scream in your face. Yep.
That's a good transition to the next movie. The quote is, "You have the whitest white part of the eye I've ever seen. Do you floss?"
I have no idea what that would be.
Hot Shots.
I've never seen that.
Okay, it's not your kind of movie.
Nope.
It's one of those parodies of Top Gun, basically. Charlie Sheen, and they fly around and silly things happen.
Yeah.
That's it. I enjoyed it when I saw it. I haven't seen it in a long time. I probably wouldn't like it as much now, but as a kid, it was just really funny.
I don't think that Donnie Yen was in a Fast and Furious movie, by the way.
Am I thinking of
He
the
was
Triple
in
X?
Triple X.
That's what I'm thinking.
Yeah.
That one has an airplane thing. The newest Triple X.
Yeah.
All right, cool.
Thanks
for checking.
I had to check.
Yep.
Yeah, it's The Return of Xander Cage. So we watched that one. That's
Yep.
fine. Okay.
All right, so yeah, Hot Shots was mine. I don't really have anything else to say about it. What's yours? Do you have another quote or clue or something?
All of my quotes are going to be inaccurate. by the
Ooh,
way.
I'm ready.
Except for the Fate of the Furious one. That was pretty accurate. This one is, I'm the president.
Air Force One?
Yep.
Yeah.
Nailed it.
That shows up on my list later.
Harrison Ford movies.
Yeah. That movie is great. I like when the good guy is... The movie where a good guy is hiding and the bad guys don't know. And you go, this guy's going to save the day.
Yeah, where he's kind of
I
like
like
a
that.
pretty ordinary guy who gets put into an extraordinary situation. And the extraordinary situation is, I'm not like all of a sudden full of kung fu knowledge. It's I'm gonna hide, and get the drop on you one by one.
Yep.
Like that's pretty reasonable.
I'd say that's what I imagine Trump would be like if he was in that place. Imagine Trump having to be an action star.
I don't want to.
You don't? Okay.
I don't. I'd rather imagine a sock puppet with an orange wig being shaken.
That's a fun thing to imagine.
Kind of like, and making the sounds that Beaker makes.
I want them to do Air Force One and just replace Harrison Ford's character and Gary Oldman's character with Muppets. Everything else is normal. They just replace them with Muppets.
I just want to replace every character that Gary Oldman has ever played with a puppet or a Muppet and see how that goes.
Professional.
Dracula.
That'd be fun. Oh, Dracula, yeah.
Dracula is a puppet. Oh my god.
Air Force One, it was a great movie. That's a fun movie. One of my go-to movie quotes: "Get off my plane."
I could have gone with that. Would never remember that it came from it.
All right, my next one. The quote is, "Ladies and gentlemen, this is your captain speaking. I have the only gun on board." It's an airplane movie.
Airplane?
No. Not that kind of airplane movie.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is your captain speaking. I have the only gun on board. Is it one with Liam Neeson in it?
No. The next line has the title of the movie in it, so I didn't say it.
There are snakes.
I think so. No. I haven't seen that. I need to see that. That's one where it looked good, and then people were like, eh. And so now it's one of those where I'm just imagine it's good in my head.
I haven't seen it because it came out when Samuel L. Jackson just came out with a bunch of crazy movies at one time, and they all just melted into each other.
I should see it.
I have no idea.
Con Air. His next line
That's
is welcome to Con Air.
That
was John Malkovich, I think, said that.
By the way, all of these movies I have not seen in years.
We watched Con Air not too long ago.
But
it's probably
been
like 2 years or something.
2 years. 2 years minimum for all of these movies.
That's another fun movie.
So Con Air is my number 3 because it's so wackadoo that it's like, all right, that's one that I can just let go and be like, this is so crazy. Like just the fact alone that Nick Cage gets sent to prison because he was fighting in self-defense. And then he was like in the South, and people in the South were like, get out of here, military man.
Yeah.
Where in the South is that true? Where? Like people there are like, I'm all for the military. Have you ever served? No, but I'm for them. And in this movie, he lives in the one enclave where they hate people from the military. I don't understand. And then he gets sent to prison because his body's a weapon.
There are all these action movies from that era that are very quotable. They have all these lines that are great. Oh, yeah. Does that happen much anymore? I wonder. I don't know.
I don't think so because like a lot of the movies now, I can't really say about like the Mission Impossible ones because I feel like I make up the lines for that. I was like, that's not your face. But like the Fast and the Furious ones, Vin Diesel's the main character. And unless it's like, when you're here, your family, like the Olive Garden, that's like all that they ever say is that we're family. Everything he says is pretty much unintelligible muttering. Groot. Like that's it, you know? That's little.
All right, so that was my next one. What's your next one? Trying to think of your favorite quote from it.
So really, I'm not even going to come up with a quote. I'm going to come up with a description.
All right, cool.
It's a week.
It's a week? It's a week, Mario Brothers.
Almost a week.
Oh, that Harrison Ford, Anne Heche, David Schwimmer, someone else movie? 6 Days, 7 Nights? 7 Nights, 6 Days? What's it called?
6 Days, 7 Nights. 7 Nights, 6 Days. Same thing.
Yeah. I I've only seen part of that movie, so I couldn't put it on my list.
It's all I'm going to say is just it's Harrison Ford, and I enjoy Harrison Ford being crotchety, and he's crotchety.
Yeah.
Yep.
And then the two couples that get split up, and then they don't they each fall in love with the other person.
Mm-hmm.
That was David Schwimmer right in the middle of his Friends popularity.
I did not remember that he was in that movie. So far, this list is real strong.
But I'm right? Right, that's him?
I believe it.
I think so.
Yeah, I haven't seen it in a few years, but I remember enjoying it because I really like Harrison Ford. Harrison Ford and my grandfather, ringers. My grandfather looks like he's his older, more used up, beat up brother, but like the way that they speak and stuff, very, very similar. One of them's a really bad man. It's not Harrison Ford. But yeah, it's like this weird thing that my brain has to get over every single time I watch one of his movies. But he's really funny, and he's a good actor.
You remember how, because there's a plane crash in the movie, you know why David Schwimmer's character doesn't get stranded? Because he jumps out into the water, and he's such a swimmer that he swam all the way to land. That was perfect.
They're like, your name should be David Schwimmer.
There we go. How's his character's name? David Schwimmer, played by Schwimmer. All right, you ready for the next one?
Yeah.
The quote is, "Can you hook up a probe so that I can see into the main cabin on this monitor?" Can you hook up a probe so that I can see into the main cabin on this monitor?
Lost in Space. I don't
know. No, Executive Decision.
We watched that not too long ago.
That was good too. That was one where actually I remembered seeing as a kid, loved it, and then let's see if it's still good. It holds up because that's a movie where people act like people for the most part. Once Steven Seagal's character is gone, he can relax, and it's a tense movie. But Steven Seagal's horrible, but and he is the character. His character dies pretty early on, and apparently I read that he did not like the way that his character died, so he would refuse to leave his trailer.
Yep.
So he had to change the way his character died, so it was more honorable or something like that.
I'm pretty sure I fell asleep.
I think you did, but you were enjoying it before that. I remember you saying like, "This is actually pretty good." I remember you just were tired.
I don't remember any of it except for the Steven Seagal death scene.
Yeah, but it had John Leguizamo and. What's his name? The guy from Death Proof.
Kurt Russell.
Yeah, Kurt Russell.
Kurt Russell with glasses because he's supposed to be really smart, right?
He's the kind of nerdy-ish guy, and then John Leguizamo and the other guys are like SWAT team or something, and they have to get onto a plane and try to save people. And Halle Berry is
she's a flight attendant. That's right. And one of the flight attendants dies. Guys, I'm remembering the plot now.
It was good.
It was very, very tense.
I like it.
And I absolutely fell asleep.
Yep. All right. I didn't. It's number 4 on my list. All right, what's next for you?
My next was Con Air.
Nice.
Yeah, we've covered that.
Yeah. Boop. All right. Quote from the next one. "We're midway across the Atlantic. Do you kill someone in a crowded plane and get away with it? Or how do you kill a person?" Let me start that over. After I belch. "We're midway across the Atlantic. How do you kill someone in a crowded plane and get away with it?"
Does it have Liam Neeson on the plane?
Yes.
Nonstop?
Yep.
That's my next one as well.
Nice.
Yeah. I put that down because it's, first of all, let us discuss the renaissance of Liam Neeson.
Yeah.
Where he hit a certain age and he went, you know what? I'm like 7,000 feet tall. And I've always, like, he was a boxer. All of his movies have had some kind of action component. But then he, like, quadrupled down and just became the craziest, like, action star who's an old man.
Yeah.
Who, like, I'm not saying that as an insult. I'm saying that as, like, he's a guy who's seasoned. He's a seasoned fighter. But now I feel like if I were his characters, I'd just be like, I'm tired.
Yeah.
I've been chasing after you for kidnapping my daughter for years. When I find you, I'm going to make a sandwich.
Yeah. He's one of those characters where, like, the first Taken is a perfect example of this, where you like Liam Neeson and you like his character in that one, and then you just go, oh, he's confident. I feel safe with him in charge. I can just sit back and relax, and he's going to take care of things.
And he's going to list for you how he's going to take care of things.
Yep.
And if you're on the receiving end of that list, you're not going to like it.
Yep.
At all. And like even watching the later Taken ones, they're still weirdly entertaining in that, like, this is a train wreck happening and I'm just gonna watch it happen kind of way.
Was it?
That's complimentary.
Yeah. What movie was it? Was it one of the Taken? I think it was Taken 2 with his daughter who was pregnant. and trying to decide if she should like keep the baby, I think.
Right.
And then she was like, didn't know how to talk to him about it. So she's like, I'm thinking about getting a puppy.
Mm-hmm.
And it seems so sincere. And I just love the way he's like, well, that's a very big decision. And he's like going through the steps. It's like very much a father-like thing where he's just, and it was like, so many other movies you have an action star would be like, I don't know, get the dog or whatever.
Yeah.
They probably wouldn't say that. But you know what I mean? That there's one of
Take
those
the
little
dog,
character
leave the
building
cannoli.
moments that is like, he's a good guy. Hope he does well.
Godfather reference.
And Nonstop was just entertaining the whole way.
Yeah.
And it had some ridiculousness, especially towards the end.
Mm-hmm.
But it was just like, this is good.
Yeah. And Liam Neeson's just like fantastic.
Yeah.
So it's always great. And yeah, it just, because has the one come out yet with him on the train?
Yeah, that one, I just saw it at the store the other day. It's out to buy or rent already, I think. I want to see that one. I think it did okay.
There's Liam Neeson losing his mind on a plane.
Yeah.
Liam Neeson losing his mind in his house on a phone. Liam Neeson losing his mind at some wolves.
Yep. That one I think is sad, so I haven't watched that one yet.
Yeah, I have no interest.
Yeah.
If it's not some crazy Liam Neeson just being like, I'm going to crunch you like a celery stick. I'm not gonna.
I think it has some of that, but then it's definitely more sad.
So now, Liam Neeson losing his mind on a train.
Yep.
Oh, and there was also the one about the identity confusion.
Oh yeah, that was good.
Yeah, it was very good.
Yeah, it wasn't. I feel like it wasn't as strong as. No, it was good.
Yeah, it was good.
Yeah.
It was just one of those movies where you're like, oh, it's kind of like the books that you find in airport stores. Not so much now, but before you used to find them where they just had less advertising spent on them. And you're like, wait, this is a good book though.
Yeah.
Anywho.
So how many more movies do you have on your list?
One more.
All right, I have two more, so I'll do another one.
Cool.
So yeah, Nonstop is your number 2.
Mm-hmm.
All right, my number 2, here's a quote. Looks like I picked the wrong week to quit sniffing glue.
What?
Looks like I picked the wrong week to quit sniffing glue.
Mm-mm.
Airplane.
Okay, well, I've never seen it.
You fell asleep during it. Very early. It's not your kind of movie.
Oh, we tried to watch that.
Yeah, it's not your kind of movie. That is
I remember
super
every
silly.
moment of our relationship, Phil.
That's not one like Hot Shots where
yeah,
I can appreciate it
Spoofy
now, but it's
movies I
not
don't
nearly
do.
as funny to me anymore. But it's just nonstop, that kind of stuff for me.
Mm-hmm.
It's like watching like Robot Chicken, that kind of thing, where it's just not your kind of thing.
I fell asleep.
But it's fun. I couldn't put Airplane 2 on it because it was a spaceship, not an airplane. It was a passenger spaceship. There we go. But that is great. Like I'm sure the Airplane is probably one that's been quoted a lot and referenced in things, and you might not know.
You
but
quote
there's like
it almost every single day.
that's exaggeration.
Surely.
Oh, good point. I do. I do quote it pretty much every day. And then the drinking problem joke where he misses his mouth. That's funny. And the whole thing with the pilot and the kid goes and visits and they ask him the weird questions.
I would almost appreciate it more if you reenacted the whole movie than if I watched the whole movie. I think.
And Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, not as himself, but kind of is, where one of the kids goes, I know you play for the Lakers. And then he's just, you shut up. I'm not him. Don't talk about him. Just things like that. That's not exactly what he says, but it's funny. I like it. All right. What's your number 1?
My number 1 is Hook.
Oh, it does have Airplane.
Mm-hmm. That's why I asked.
Yeah,
Does it have
That's
to
great.
mostly take place on an airplane?
It's got a memorable scene on an airplane.
And people, if you're going to come at me and tell me that Hook is a bad movie, keep walking. I will argue you. I will argue on that point. I disagree 1,000%. I think it's one of the best movies that came out of our childhood.
If people keep saying that's Steven Spielberg's one bad movie, nope.
Disagree.
Ready Player One is his one bad movie.
Ooh, that's a ringer.
One
too.
of his bad.
That's a ringer.
Yeah, he's probably had more bad movies.
Ready Player One. Yuck.
Yeah, but Hook is great.
Yeah, Hook was fantastic, and it's like it just is so magical. And that plane scene perfectly captures how Coach felt in the early 90s. Really, really constricting, and it's constricting now.
And the Peter's fear of flying, which was I think a really clever thing, that character trait.
But if you're going to bring a fantastical character into the real world, that was such a great.
And Ron Williams just I felt did that so well, where it was you could tell he was like really scared, but it wasn't cartoony too much.
No,
it was
like
more of just
how
like
people get
he was
mad
so
when they're scared.
Yeah,
and plus Robin Williams, full stop.
Yeah, yep.
Just everything about him in that movie is fantastic.
Yeah,
and it's bittersweet, which is one of the things that I loved and missed about all the movies when we were growing up. Is that a lot of them had a very, very hard bittersweetness. to
Pixar
them.
movies do that. That's
Yeah,
why I
now
can't
we
watch them
can't watch
anymore
them
because they're
anymore.
too good at that.
Yep. Too many real things.
All right, number one. I know what you're thinking, First Lady. You want me dead. Well, it might come to that. In the war, people die.
Air Force One.
Yeah, Air Force One. We were talking about
I wasn't.
number one.
I was insecure about it. I was like,
Oh.
wait, I have to replay. Did we cover that again? But I did remember you saying that it would be on your list. Yep. Air Force One. Now I want to watch a couple of these.
Yeah.
Because they're fun.
They are.
And they remind me why I'm scared of planes. Maybe some movies taking place on planes has contributed to a fear of flying.
Okay. For me, it kind of it does the opposite for me.
Mm-hmm.
Because I want an excuse to be able to save the day and land the plane. There's some movies that Passenger 57, I don't remember if I've seen the whole thing or not. That's Wesley Snipes. That was one of his first big action movies.
I've never seen it.
And
did you ever see Flight Plan?
no, that's one I want to see. Have you seen it?
Mm-mm. But I've Wikipedia'd it multiple times.
Yeah, I should see it. And then Red Eye is another one. That was kind of a scary one. I think Cillian Murphy and Rachel McAdams, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
That's the one I want to see. You can do movies that take place in like a train or a car or a plane. A lot of times they come up with some
Yeah, and like
fun, clever
planes.
things.
Planes are already places where people are excited to go travel, but there's a lot of anxiety in the air. There's a lot of tension because a lot of people are just commuting or are going places and they just want things to work out. And so like building on that already existing tension it's pretty real. And then you add a lot of unrealistic stuff on it, like Steven Seagal.
Yeah.
And you go, all right.
Oh, another movie that I forgot because it's only one part of it's airplane related is Twilight Zone movie.
Yeah, that did.
That scene is great. That scene, that
did
segment of the
occur
movie.
to me, and you showed me that because I was too scared as a kid to watch Twilight Zone. But
parts of it are still pretty scary.
Shatner acting.
Well, that's in the show. It's John Lithgow in the movie. Yeah,
that's right. So did you show me the movie or the show? Because I remember
maybe
Shatner.
both. Maybe just the show, but I've seen both. But the movie's just newer and higher quality and stuff.
Bonus mention: The Langoliers.
I haven't seen it.
I remember seeing that on TV. It was just playing like all the time when I was a kid.
King?
It's a Stephen King thing, and it's about people on a plane, and then they land, and everybody's gone.
Oh yeah,
yeah, and it's a weird movie. It's probably not as scary as I remember it.
Yeah,
because I think it's like from the 80s or at least the early 90s.
What we can do is we can go somewhere in the woods and just watch it on our phones. Makes every movie scary. All right, that's a good way to end our list. All right, we have a few more minutes.
Diesel.
A few more minutes. Here's the thing I want to ask. Every once in a while, musicians will put together collaborative albums where it's multiple people working together, like David Byrne and St. Vincent did one of those together.
Mm-hmm.
And Gorillaz does that with a bunch of people.
Mm-hmm.
I can't think of other examples right now, but there are plenty.
Mm-hmm.
If you could have two musicians or bands or artists, whatever, do an album together, who are two that you think would be interesting to see what they come up with together doing a whole album?
Personally, just for me, I would want Michael Cretu of Enigma and Enya to combine.
Yes.
I'd be really happy with that.
Have you heard?
Or Enya and Lorena McKenna. Mm-hmm.
Have you? Good answer. Did Sarah McLachlan do stuff with Enigma or Delirium?
Delirium.
I can never remember. Mm-hmm. Do you like that at all?
I like one of the songs. I don't think I've ever heard any of the other songs of that album.
Enya and Massive Attack could be interesting.
Oh, that would be good.
For me, I've talked about this to you before. I want Lana Del Rey to do an album with Eminem producing.
Ooh, yeah.
I think Eminem is an underrated producer.
That would bring her back to like the first album.
Yeah.
Where it's not necessary to like recover those steps, but the fact that she like slowed down like hip hop beats.
Yeah.
And made them 40s Hollywood.
Yep.
Melancholy was really, really interesting.
Yep. And Eminem, I think there's a lot of, he's just a great songwriter.
Yeah.
That'd be great. I would like to see, or hear Damon Albarn and Mike Patton. I feel like they have similar careers in many ways, where they both are well known pretty much for one band, but then they have other bands that they're they're also, successful, and they
very
both
active.
they've done albums with a bunch of different collaborators, and they just are constantly doing different kind of things.
Yeah.
I think the two of them together would be pretty interesting to see. And one more, I want Mogwai to do an album with Chino Moreno from the Deftones.
Ooh.
He wanted to record some with them before. They talked. I don't know if they actually end up doing anything.
That would be a cool
But
mix.
I think that would be really cool to see, because Mogwai has such a wide range of heavy and soft, and the Deftones do too. And I just would like to hear what Chino would do over that music. Yep.
Very cool.
Cool. All right. So we're almost done here. Thank you, Ariel. It was fun.
Thanks for having me.
Anytime, literally. So coming up is just a minute. We've got Full Circle Sessions with DJ Saeed, and he's going to be with you until 5 o'clock. And is that all for today? The schedule is up. I don't know if they added anything else recently or not. Oh, there's a schedule. There. Thank you. Oh yeah, sorry. Yeah, another show that's pretty new. Live Archive with Ed Pearlstein. Sorry about that. From 5 to 7. That was, I think this is like the 3rd or 4th week that's been going on. So yeah, definitely stick around for that. So we are gonna go. Thank you everyone for listening. Thank you Ariel for being the guest.
Thank you.
Thank you. And you can go to kpca.fm, look at the schedule and everything else that's going on. Email the station at kpca@pca.tv. And you want information specifically about this show and Phil and Ariel's mixtape, you can go on Instagram and Twitter at Phil and Ariel. All right, everybody, have a great evening. Enjoy Full Circle Sessions with DJ Saeed, and we'll see you next week. Bye-bye.